Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this fine Saturday, July the 11th. And a bit of Celtic news going about yesterday that we kind of missed out on, and we didn't want to watch over or even give them the time of day. 11th, yeah, Celtic. Celtic. What could you say? Celtic have jumped into bed with a watch company, as if they couldn't get the fans thinking they're any more of a shower of shambles. Celtic yesterday, the Celtic Football Club, the partnership brings one of the most world's. This is bonkers. You need to be on football salaries to afford these watches, as far as I'm concerned. It is crazy that the club are delusional about the wage bracket that the majority of the Celtic fans are on. They're completely delusional. Celtic Football Club, the partnership brings together one of football's most iconic clubs and one of the fastest growing names in Swiss watchmaking, uniting a shared commitment to precision, craftsmanship and excellence. What does Celtic, what are we excellent at? Go and remind us. I bought a Celtic watch once. I gotta tell you a story. I bought one of these Celtic watches years ago, and it looked great until the battery needed changed, and then something went wrong with it. And then you took it to a jeweller's, and the jewellers went, "The fuck is this?" It was just cheap shit inside. And I swore I would never buy a Celtic watch again. And at that time, I used to like wearing a watch. I don't wear a watch now. I don't need. It's just time's just. What do you need? You've got a phone now. But yeah, I swore I'd never buy a Celtic watch again. But here Celtic are trying to get us to buy a watch. And when you click onto the site and go to the watch, they're no cheap. Let's just say they aren't cheap at all. Well, they've got one in green and one in blue. Well, you got a 3 years warranty though. But yeah. Who's buying a watch for £2.5 grand? We Jake for the scheme. The watch along. Yeah, it is the watch along, isn't it? I mean, I think that, you know, Celtic are they're on cloud cuckoo land. I mean, I know that there's plenty of folk out there that'll buy £2.5 grand watches. I'm not disputing that, but the game is no longer a working man's game. I mean, I know guys that would spend that kind of money on a watch, and I know loads of folk that would go, fuck to that. Time we made signings. Yes, it is that. It's time we made signings. But anyway, that is Celtic for you. They've jumped into bed with a watchmaker. But there we go. That is Celtic for you. They're now the official named timepiece supplier to Celtic Football Club. Piss off. I ain't buying any of your shitty watches again. Get a copy off a Chinese site for 30 quid. I think that's where Celtic got their original watches from. I can remember I was devastated at the time. I was in my 20s. And I was like, oh, it's a fucking Celtic watch, man. That's cool as anything. I don't know, when you were out and back in the 90s, you still got dressed up to go out type of thing. You know, you still got made yourself look smart and that. Instead of the way that folk goes out these days. Man, I'm sure it was probably the time that they still did the last dance at the nightclubs. Remember that? The last dance? The younger generation will not remember that. Everyone would amass around the dance floor when it became that time at the nightclub when the last dance was coming in. You would check your watch and be like, right, that's it. I've got 10 minutes to to grab someone and get a last dance, and then whatever happened happened. Back in the day, the board have gone cuckoo. Still can't get players in on time. Um, Personally, I'm not buying a banger. Celtic fans don't need a watch. They see time ticking away. Oh, well, I sense when the pubs open, don't need a watch. Yeah, Gavo. I would rather spend 2,500 quid elsewhere. Yeah. Well, at least we're Tiffany's for a huddle. Don't even think about it this morning, mister. So yeah, at least we're all on Watchgate. Ah, aye. When we're going out. Yeah, in the good old days, you weren't going out. You got dressed up and you went out. Ah, brilliant. Football is no longer about football. It's about money, says Charles. It is that, isn't it? And it is about money, and it's about players. And Celtic have been linked with a player, and Martin O'Neill's been quite coy about it. Martin O'Neill give away one of his wee smiles. Whilst Camilo Duran, and then Celtic had to pay for the rights music. TikTok. Hey, ba-dum-dum. When he's Celtic will be selling Dermot Desmond Dolan. Oh, whoa! Too far, Mark. This morning, I know it's a Saturday morning, and I might still be a little bit for the Spain result last night, but Jesus, more the last scrap on the dance floor. No, the last scrap on the dance floor. No, it was. You made sure that you didn't get the fat and ugly ones that was left. No disrespect to fat and ugly birds, because there wasn't that many fat ones back then. All the women were thin. This was before like crappy food came in. And then the big light came on, and you're like, whoa! Taxi! Will Carmack stay? Don't know. Ask them the time. You're showing your age badge. Yes, show my time. It was only in the 1990s that the last dance kind of ended. So don't know. I was in my teenage years at then, and I was early. Anyway, as long as it's voodoo dolls for the board, that would be good. Somebody wants to come out with a voodoo doll for the board. That would I could reckon that you could sell easily 2 or 3 thousand of them quite easily. Anyway, let's to get to the Celtic website and Camilo Duran. Now I put this picture up specifically because look at the face of Paulo Bernardo when they're in training. Paulo Bernardo's kind of looking at him and he's like, well, there's another player that's going to walk in the door and get a game in front of me. Plays in a different position for you, Paulo, but I get what you mean. But the look on Paulo's face does say it all, doesn't it? Celtic milking it for the Duran pictures. I just hope he doesn't get it. Other than I'm not being funny, like, but you better be good. You better be real good, because there was quite a lot of players that got bullied off the ball. He better have some pace on him. That's sure. Down the old Jackios bass. Yes, Jim, it was down the old Jackios. You know it right. Last dance and working out whose fish you're taking the birthday. Says Pablo. Is that a voodoo doll with stick pins in? Yes, that's cruised rap. Yes, Bernardo's saying it's all about any chance of a voodoo doll making them spend money. I don't think that would happen. But anyway, Camilo Duran, and his pictures in training. Doesn't have the physicality that we were kind of hoping that Celtic would go down the road for. But with that being said, well, there's Maloney. There's Maloney. I've not seen many pictures of him. There we go. We Sean. Oh, never ever wear this thing again, mate. This wee 4-leaf clover bracelet. They must have just. They've got this boy in, eh? And it's like, I mean, South American Spanish is hard as anything to understand. It's weird. It's not like Spanish. It's a bit like Geordie. No disrespect to Geordies, but you're, or maybe somebody for Fraserburgh. You know what I mean? And you listen to somebody for Fraserburgh, and up that way, and you're what is that even English you're speaking, mate? I have no clue what you're saying. And I was like that with this guy. I could pick up on some of the. I've got to laugh because there was one translation specifically that Celtic used, and he actually mentioned about that he dreamt about it since he was wee, since he was little. Was the what should have been the English translation, but Celtic put out something completely different. It was hilarious. Anyway, I hope they must have got him in the door and went, "Oh, this is just a marketer's dream, man." He's Colombian. He's the first Colombian to come into Celtic. I suggest not. I reckon there's been a lot of Colombian in Celtic over the years, especially in the stands. But and they've put all these bracelets and everything on him, and the wee earrings, and the anniversary top. You're going to help us sell merch, mate. Anyway, that is him. Right, don't even think about it. No, but pause. Get off my feet. The English Baz is just pure Scottish law. Yeah, it's just pure Scottish, yeah. Doric, yeah, exactly. Anyway, getting away from that because Celtic have been linked with a 6'3", 6'1". That's the watches. Get rid of those watches. Celtic have been linked with a defender that comes from the Ivory Coast. He's more of a defensive midfield player. He can play at the back and he can play as a defensive midfield player. The fact that Celtic are looking, we know that we need someone in Callum McGregor's place, right? That's it. Swear to God, the 2 years are gone. Could you come and get these pair, please? Thank you. Oh, I apologise. It's just the normal crazy cat attack first thing in the morning. Anyway, Celtic have been linked with this player who stands at 1.88 metres high. Has to be a little Celtic connection in there with his height. That makes him around about 6'1". He's a defensive midfield player who can also play at both positions at the back. Given that type of utility player, and his his first name Roman Mori Domain Gabane. The fact that he's got Roman in his name, you just buy him for that, and you just put Roman in the back, and then you say he's Roman and the Gloman was St. Patrick. He's Roman and the Gloman was. Ay ay ay. Anyway, right, that's it's like two. They're just crazy, these cats. Anyway, the fact that Celtic are named with a player whose first name is Roman, I say we buy him. It's like we buy the goalkeeper Pope, and you have Pope and Roman at the back. If only. If only. Do it, Celtic. I would do it. It's at times like this that you wish Peter Lawwell was still at the club, because that's the kind of signings that Peter Lawwell would do just purely for shits and giggles. You remember when we went out and bought players just to stop Rangers buying players and never played them? I think he would get that. Don't know. That's goes on from the conversation for yesterday when we seen it was 9 years ago that Peter Lawwell stood up and said that we're going to build a hotel. But anyway, Stephen says I called my son Roman. Well, there you go. Perfect. One problem, Pope is shite. Yeah, it's true, isn't it? Spanish side want 10 million for Sam. Nowhere we paying that. Yeah, there's loads of changes, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see because I think Celtic have still got a couple of big signings left. We need more players in. The fact that we've only had a couple of players in. What's happened with the whole Sriracha situation? Well, there's been a lot of commenting yesterday. People saying that they know what's going on, but Boca Juniors, Sriracha's club, have released a statement clarifying Marcelo Sriracha's and several other players' situation. And we all know that he's not wanted. Don't know. They've all been notified that they're training separately from the main players at the club. We all know this, so I think that the fact that Martin O'Neill turned around and said it's Michael Nicholson and it's Michael Nicholson that's doing the transfer talks. On the upside, Martin O'Neill did say that we'd been looking at Camilo Duran since last April, which is an interesting one. I wonder why they didn't try and get him in the winter transfer window for Martin O'Neill. Anyway, back to the 6'1" Ivory Coast defensive midfielder, Roman Mori Gavan. He plays in France. He doesn't have a bad record. And you see it. Although his Celtic could have got him last year for 1.5 million. The team that he's at now want €5 million for him. It's typical Celtic, isn't it? Especially if they've been watching them for a bit of a while. Rumours about Kelechi. There's been a lot of rumours about Kelechi. Martin O'Neill wants Kelechi. We just need to wait and see. Martin O'Neill confirmed that it was Nicholson that's dealing with it. He wants them. Nicholson is dealing with it. Do you think that Celtic can try and bring in Cammy Devlin on a free? No chance, Jim. He's a wee current bun. No chance. Not a chance. Devlin must be worth a punt for. I don't think Celtic will go down that road. Do you really think that Cammy Devlin's that good? Honest question here. I don't think he's that good. Just saying. Let him go to Rangers and then just keep the serial losing contingent happening. Because I don't really want him at Celtic, to be fair. I think that we could get a lot better players. Anyway, I'm not staying on long this morning because I need to get some food in me. Went to watch the Spain game last night, and I've got to say, the Spanish, oh, oof, they had a party right after the game. Anyway, Devlin is shite. He is overrated. I think that I would go with that, Paul. I mean, he's a good midfielder in the terms of Scottish football, but I think that Celtic really, really need to up their game with a better defensive midfield player and then push Callum McGregor further forward. I think you'd get more from that. The thing is, with the whole Iniacho stuff, the fact that Celtic let his contract run out, and then they go back to him after the contract's run out. His agent had already started sounding out clubs in Turkey and stuff. He's going to go where the money is, and I think that Martin O'Neill may be left frustrated that Iniacho will be allowed to go to another club because Celtic won't pay the money. If Celtic had automatically, and this is Michael Nicholson and co down to the fucking wire as normal. They would think, let his contract run out and then we'll offer him a new contract on lesser terms. If Martin O'Neill really wanted Kelechi Iniacho and he told the club that he wanted Kelechi Iniacho, that deal should have been one of the first deals that was done. The same with the Oxlade-Chamberlain one, the same with the Sriracha one. But we're at a situation again where Michael Nicholson is. I hope I bump into him next week. I really do. Because I will question Nicholson and I'll record it just to piss him off. Any news about the Motherwell player? Nope. Devlin would give us a wee bit of bite needed. I agree we could do better, and I think we could do way better than Devlin. He's a wee terrier for Hearts, but nowhere near Celtic class. Yes, Pablo. I stand with that one as well. He's when you're good against Hearts against other teams in the SPFL, you've got to remember he's never really been tested for Hearts in Europe, has he? He kicks everything that moves, Baz. Yeah, but is that the Celtic style? Doesn't make him a good player. Don't know. I think that you want a flair player in midfield. You're talking about bringing someone in that that's going to live up to the reputation of Paul McStay, Paul Lambert, Neil Lennon, even say, oh, I don't like to say his name, but John Collins. Do you know Scott Brown? Are we putting Cammy Devlin in the same bracket as those players? Not a chance. Not a chance. There's more chance that he's like a modern day Peter Grant, if anything. We're a bit stealing him. I don't think he's Celtic class now. Let him go to Rangers and let him win nothing next season. No circus marches here in Hungary, thank God. Thought it was the land of the Hun. He kicks everything that moves except the ball. Yep. Bruni, Bertie. We need a Victor Wanyama type. Yeah, this is true. This is very true. Right, I think that's it for the comments this morning. Celtic news-wise, it is a bit of a calm day. I need to go and have a shave and sort myself out after last night's bonkerness. If you are interested, I did do a short video over on Baz Does Football of the event last night in a sleepy little part of Spain away from all the tourists. It was I've never seen so many Spain tops. We stayed in a town where the last World Cup and there was hardly any Spain tops. Here, it was like the whole town. Boom, whole town was just decked out in Spain tops who are through to the next round. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I will be back on later on this afternoon because it is a Saturday and I think there's a couple of games that I might be looking at today. But until then, let's just finish off with some questions. Serious point, do we miss Lawwell running the club? He got shit done, like it or not. Big Rab, we spoke about it yesterday. And it was 9 years ago since he spoke to the media about Celtic bringing out the hotel. And I'd agree with you. He came out and he spoke to the media. He spoke to the fans. He got stuff done. He would buy players just to piss off Rangers so that they couldn't buy them. And, Scott Allen, for instance, was never going to be great at Celtic, but Rangers were after him and he went, well, fuck that, we'll buy him. We'll buy him. Just to piss off Rangers at the time. On a serious note, I think that whilst his tenure wasn't the best, he did piss off fans. He did a lot of stuff like colluding with police and shit like that. He used the Green Brigade and the Green Brigade's idea for the standing section, promoted it as his own, where it all come from the fans. It was a fan-led movement for the standing section, and Lawwell took all the glory. Lawwell was great at that time, that type of thing. Taking stuff and ideas from the fan base and manipulating it and making it look as if it was his idea and, we're putting Celtic out there as a first. And you could say that Celtic were world class at doing things first in those days. But I think under the leadership of the current incumbent of what is now 2 jobs, because Peter Lawwell did everything at the club where it comes to finances and running the club, and you now have Nicholson and Mackay, and those 2 jobs were created after Lawwell stepped down. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for this morning. I missed that one, mate. On the road yesterday to Devon again. Oofed. Lawwell did those things, but he also cost Champions League football more than a handful of times. He did, and that's why a lot of fans do not like him. Is Martin picking the players coming in, do you think? Yes. I think Martin is picking the players, but it's all down to Nicholson just being Nicholson. And that's what's frustrating the fans. And that's why the fans won't change. And that's why we were all hoping. And there was lots of rumours that Nicholson was going to step down this summer. I thought it was highly unlikely that Nicholson would step down due to the fact that he's just a little lapdog for Dermot Desmond. But it is what it is. Anyway, have an absolutely fantastic day. Sorry, I just got some messages coming in. No, it's nothing. Have an absolutely fantastic day. I will catch you later on this afternoon. And yeah, that's me. See you later. God, why do you drink? Why do you drink? It's just.